Welcome to the NCDWI Guide podcast, where defenders of the Constitution assemble to prepare for courtroom battle and firm owners gather to develop marketing strategies that will revolutionize the practice of criminal defense. Here's your host, the NCDWI guy, Jake Minnick.
Hello, fellow freedom fighters, and welcome to episode 192 of the NCDWI Guy podcast. On today's episode, we are talking about towing the line. Towing the line. And as we sit here, just celebrated Christmas, had a wonderful Christmas with my wife and kids, lots of festivity, lots of good prayer time together, gift giving. I mean, it's amazing when you have 9 people in the family and everyone is giving a gift to one another. There's a lot of presents under the tree. It's actually pretty exciting. Like that's a fun morning. I think it took us like 2.5 hours to do all the gifts one at a time. Everybody, kind of giving their gift to each other person in the family. So good Christmas morning, and a lot of pent up energy over the month of December that was finally released. But now we sit in this week between Christmas and New Year's. And if you haven't already set resolutions for 2024, you're probably thinking, oh, shoot, I need to figure this out. I need to get on it. I need to decide what new and exciting habit or goal or place I'm going to visit, exercise routine, whatever it is. It's kind of like I got to decide on something to set for myself, some New Year's resolution. And so today we're going to talk about towing the line. One of the recent things that we have talked about at the firm is what are our Everest goals for 2024. Each person's individual goals, the team's Everest goal for 2024. And so, if you're trying to build big goals, if you're kind of wanting to have a year where there is a monumental noticeable difference between 2023 and 2024, you got to figure out what is important. Why are you built for success in particular phases of your business, particular phases of your life? What items are realistic? What items need to be pushed a little bit? And so we're going to talk a little bit about goal setting, but I kind of want to do it through this lens of towing the line. Now, towing the line can mean a number of different things. I looked it up on the internet, good old Google, and there's a number of different meanings. Some of them negative, some positive, but one that's not really kind of frequently coming up that I'm going to use for our purposes today. So a lot of times you hear, oh, that person is towing the company line or towing the party line. And generally that's kind of a negative connotation of that person is just basically spewing the propaganda that the company or political party that they're affiliated with, spewing it from their mouth without really having digested it or believing it themselves. That basically they're just putting out there into existence whatever the kind of powers that be have spouted as gospel. And so that has a negative connotation. Another meaning of towing the line definition is conforming to a rule or standard or to stand in formation along a line. And this is used particularly in a military context. So this is more of kind of, let's say, holding the line or making sure that certain standards are followed. So I think that can have a positive connotation. And again, in standing in formation along a line, particularly in a military context. Where I have heard this, given kind of my recent affinity for running, is in the race context. And towing the line is when you're basically getting ready for the proverbial gun to go off, the horn to sound, basically the moments leading up to the start of a race. In a sprint, obviously the hands are down on the line, in that Olympic sprinter position. In longer distances, everybody is standing across that line, getting ready to start their watches and move into the first few steps of the race. And so there's this kind of like build up. There's this kind of uh, excitement, anticipation that is building during those moments of going into towing the line. And I think in terms of going into a new year, 2024, I think that the mindset of we want to toe the line in the right way is really important. Last week, we did a reflection on towing the line for 2024 with our team as the basis of our kind of final workshop of the year. Same day, earlier in the day, we also did kind of a similar reflection with a group of owners that attended the Freedom Fighters Summit by a virtual meeting. Really powerful meeting. A lot of great ideas were shared by the attendees on how to goal set and things that they were looking to do in 2024. Just a lot of great ideas exchanged. I had a couple of major takeaways from that virtual workshop, so I'm really grateful for everybody that attended that. But we want to toe the line. We want to toe the line the right way going into this new year. So I have three ideas, three reflections that I want to share on towing 2024 the right way. As you're getting ready to set New Year's resolutions, or you're hearing this after January 1st and you kind of want to recalibrate or kind of start things off on the right foot, so to speak, I've got some ideas on towing the line the right way. So I'm just going to jump into this. Idea number one: don't go out too fast. I think this is what crushes most New Year's resolutions. Is everybody comes out of the month of December having just, pigged out on food and alcohol and fun and spending time with family and a lot of vacation days from the office. And, in the midst of sitting on the couch with belly too full of ham and beer, there is this like kind of epiphany of like, I probably should exercise, right? And so they are on the couch as we are lazing about and feeling kind of sick to our stomach, literally, and wishing that we had kind of made better choices. We say, 2024 is my year. And so in that like half drunken stupor, we decide that 2024 is going to be the year of exercise. And so New Year's Eve comes, we finish that last glass of champagne, and it's like tomorrow is going to be off to the races. The new me is coming alive. And so what typically happens is that we go into the new year with whatever resolutions that we've set for ourselves. Hey, we're going to learn a new language, learn an instrument. We're going to go visit places. We're going to spend more time with family. We're going to call distant relatives more frequently, spend more time in prayer, get on the P90X workout system. We go out really hot in that first couple of weeks. And in some sense, it's kind of like we're in that detox stage of like basically major change coming, through a short period of time. We go out super hot, super fast. And if you are planning on accomplishing big things, you cannot do it at a sprint level. I've shared a number of times, I think, on this podcast, I know at least once, but I think multiple times on the podcast, that Gary Vaynerchuk has this quote that most people think that business is a sprint and it's really a marathon. And, I kind of put the same thing, in terms of life. Most people think that life is a sprint and it's an ultra marathon. It is a marathon that just seems to go on forever. And so it's one of those things where if you go out after your goals at a sprint, it's generally speaking going to be an unsustainable pace, a pace that is not going to work out. And why in a race or in training, even, do you not want to go out too fast? Well, generally speaking, is because it's going to be painful. It's going to hurt. You're not going to like the process. If you go out, on a marathon race at a sprint pace, about a half a mile to three-quarters of a mile in, you are going to be extremely winded, if not walking, and think to yourself, oh my gosh, I've got 25 miles left of this. I mean, this is going to be a long, miserable day. More importantly, is that in going out too fast, it can cause injury, right? Overuse injury. I think one of the main reasons why people really get bummed out or deflated by a exercise program as a New Year's resolution is they just go out too hot. We used to have this like Jillian Michael CD that was something like Beach Body in 30 days. I don't remember what it was, but like the workout routine was insane. My wife and I were doing this together for a little bit. And I mean, it'd have you feeling sick after you did this routine. And it's kind of like, we are a world that wants this instant result. We want this like instant gratification. And if you want to have, be a person that is in shape, if you want to, if you want to be in shape, then you can maybe do one of these like 30-day or 90-day programs, get in shape, do whatever you want to do in terms of being in shape, and then very quickly probably fall out of shape again. But as James Clear talks about in Atomic Habits, if we want our identity to change, if we want to have something that becomes a part of our identity, I don't want to be in shape. I am a fit person. That's a different way of looking at the same thing. Like, I'm in shape. I am a fit person. Then you have to change that mindset to where now this is not just something that I'm kind of like doing in order to achieve some result that has a finite ending time. I'm exercising because that's part of my identity. I go to the gym 3 days a week. I've done that for 6 months, 9 months, 5 years, whatever it might be. You're much more likely to be in shape if you live that fit lifestyle over a long period of time. And so as opposed to going out and doing, the, P90X program, which as Nate Bargatze describes, this is like training for the Navy SEALs, right? As opposed to going out and just feeling miserable every time you work out, go out and spend the time doing the thing. Build that into your schedule. If you go out at a more sustainable pace, it's much more likely that you won't hurt yourself, get frustrated, get burned out by the process. Rome wasn't built in a day. A fit body is not going to be built in a day. A fit mind is not going to be built in a day. Your business can't be built in a day. Good family, good home life is not built overnight. You've got to incorporate a long-term strategy in order to make these things work and tweak it constantly and get better at it in small, ordinary things constantly in order for the results that we want to see to occur. There is no instant gratification or overnight success when it comes to these big ticket important items in our life. So, one of the most important things to me in terms of setting a New Year's resolution, like if you have an Everest goal for 2024, and if you don't, you should create one. What is that big ticket item that's going to be life changing? What relationship in your life do you need to spend significant time on in order to have a better life? What big ticket item in your business could really change the way that your team operates together, your culture, the way that you are able to handle cases for your clients? What big ticket items need to change? Well, those things aren't going to be changed overnight. So you have to determine what your pacing is going to be. You got to pace yourself in order to hit a big ticket goal. Now, the sprinter is going to start out getting that big ticket item much faster, but the sprinter is typically going to have their dream, their goal derailed because they're going to get hurt. They're going to get burned out. They're going to get frustrated because you cannot sustain that pace. So, one of the most important things in terms of not going out too fast is determining what your Q1 pace is going to be to hit your 2024 goals. Not what your January pace is going to be, not what your, 6-week pace is going to be. Set a pace that you can stay on track for 3 months. Be realistic. If you want to get in shape, set aside 10 minutes a day for exercising. You can build off of that. 10 minutes, right? That's much more sustainable than saying I'm going to exercise for 90 minutes a day and eat, completely different than I've ever eaten in my life. That's going to be much more sustainable in terms of building a long-term fit identity, healthy lifestyle. If you want to read more this year, instead of saying I'm going to read 4 books a month when you haven't read a book in 2 years, maybe I'm going to read a chapter a month of this particular book, right? Or I'm going to read a chapter a week, whatever it might be. I mean, whatever feels realistic. If that's something that is, especially in a new space that we're not building off of some past success, which we'll talk about in a minute, if we're going to start into some new venture, we want to start in bite-size chunks instead of trying to swallow the proverbial elephant, right? Eat that elephant one bite at a time. That's how you do it. So, number 1 piece of advice for towing the line correctly in 2024, don't go out too fast. Number 2, be intentional. Be intentional. So often our New Year's resolutions are made on a whim, right? We feel like we have to set a New Year's resolution. It's like, there's this thing that, oh, shoot, it's December 30th. I've got a new year. I've got this clean slate. I probably should try to figure out like what my goals are going to be for this year. And so we just immediately like think of something to set as a goal. I'm going to eat healthier. I'm going to learn this new language. I've always wanted to learn French, but there's no clear reason or trajectory for doing this. Like I want to garden more, whatever it might be. And all these things are good. But if you make your plan for 2024 on a whim, you are not going to accomplish those goals. I don't even say it's like less likely that you're going to accomplish those goals. You're not going to accomplish those goals. And the reason why is because you're only interested in setting or in achieving those goals. And being interested is the recipe for failure. If you want to accomplish your Everest goal in 2024, you can't be interested in getting it done. You have to be committed to getting it done. And the only way you're going to be committed is if you have very clearly thought through why this goal is going to be life-changing. not fun, not interesting, why this goal is going to be life changing. If you want the big life changing result, then you have to identify why this goal in your life lives up to that expectation. What is the most critical win that you could have in your life in 2024? What relationship would bring the most peace and joy to your family, to yourself, if you were able to really dive into that relationship? What what physical goal is most compelling? Not this obligation that sits out there of something that you feel like you should do. Um, but what is exciting? What is compelling? What is something that you are ready, willing, and able to get after? What will drive you to future successes? Spending some time really thinking through these goals is really important. I think it's one of those things that so often we look to other people as indicators of success. Social media, uh, you know, influencers and sports and music and all these different things. Other people, our peers, kind of set the standard of here's what success looks like, and it all looks very glamorous, sexy, uh, amazing on social media. But a lot of times people aren't showing what it took to get to that level of success. So it's important for us to really reflect on what is going to have the most dramatic impact in our particular situation, in our particular life. So sit down, spend some time in thought in terms of what is going to make the biggest difference. Number two, be intentional. And I think number three, this is the last one of the day, builds on number two. Because if you're kind of lost in terms of what when is going to be important, number three is really going to help you. And so this is number three. Look to past successes for goal setting. Look to past successes for goal setting. So often in terms of our New Year's resolutions, it's about starting something new, right? Something shiny, something different than we've ever done before, whether that's, again, learning a new language, learning how to play an instrument, exercising when we don't, going and visiting this place that we've never been to. It's about doing this unique and different thing. And I think our best successes, and oftentimes kind of what's probably most important in our lives, is about building off of these successes that we've already experienced. Instead of completely changing gears, completely changing course, how do we learn how to run the course that we are on better? How do we get faster on that course? Less winded, enjoy the process more. So I'm going to tell you a tale of two racers since we were talking about towing the line. Racer number one, Stella, has run for 5 years. She's been on a 3-month training program. This is all leading up to a 5K. Okay. So we're just going to, in this example, say we see these two racers lining up for the New Year's 5K, right? That's run on New Year's Day. Stella's run for 5 years. She's been on a 3-month training program leading up to this race. Her nutrition is dialed in. She's been stretching on a regular basis. She feels loose. She, as part of her 3-month training program, had a taper for the last couple of weeks. She feels like she is ready to explode off of that line. She's taken time to visualize what success looks like. She's done this on her training runs, in the moments, in the hour building up to the race. She is getting into that mental state of knocking this race dead. She's studied the course. She's trained on the course. She's run the course in her practice, in her training runs. She is ready to knock this race dead. She's dialed in, zeroed in. She's waiting for that gun to sound. Now, racer number 2 got pulled in by a friend last night at the New Year's party that she went to. December 31st, was out partying. Somebody's like, hey, let's go run this race tomorrow. She's out last night drinking, stayed up past midnight, welcomed in the new year, saw the ball drop. This race is starting early morning. She's arrived late at check-in. She's flustered. She's trying to figure out what's going on. Again, she didn't eat good last night. She drank too much. She hadn't had enough sleep. Which of these 2 racers is more likely to finish first? Which of these 2 racers is more likely to have a good time during the race? Well, this is obviously an easy question, right? And it's meant to be that way. It's meant to be an easy question. And that's because so often, and racer number 2's name is Kathy. So often we are like Kathy, right? We dive into something that we're not prepared for. That's what our New Year's resolution feels like. We get pulled in last second because somebody else is like, hey, we should do this thing. Or we decide on a whim, hey, let's go do this. Let's go do this new venture. And it sounds exciting in the moment. It sounds exciting as we are, again, in that like half drunken stupor of, hey, let's go get this thing done. But when we can follow in Stella's footsteps, when we're able to just take past wins and build on them, that's where we can experience true success year over year. So instead of going into New Year's with this idea that I need to set a new goal for this year, I need to try a new thing, I need to change directions 180 degrees, build on your past successes. What are you set up for? Why are you set up to do this thing so well? In 2024, at our office, our goals are much more vertical this year than horizontal. Brian King, during our workshop last week, described it this way, so I'm stealing this kind of imaging from him. The last few years, we have had a lot of horizontal growth at the company. We have moved into new spaces. We've hired a bunch of new team members. In the past 4 years, we've expanded into 6 new markets, and including last year or this year, going into a new state, going into South Carolina. There's been a lot of horizontal growth, moving into new spaces. Ton of turnover in 2023 at our office. We had 8 employees leave the firm in 2023, attorneys and staff, and we brought in 10 new employees in 2023. Monumental turnover. That amount of turnover is probably, more than like the prior 3 years combined, all in one time. A ton of moving pieces. Really, a really difficult transition in a lot of those team member situations where we're losing team members, bringing new team members aboard, trying to get them oriented to their new position, get them the training that they need to succeed. Helping get people onboarded is just such a difficult thing, trying to replace people that had been at the office. I think we had 3 people that left the firm in 2023 that had been with the team for at least 5 years. That's a lot of major players that are moving out of the office uh, that have really put in a lot of time and energy and become a part of our DNA and culture. And so it was a time of kind of major transition. But as we go into 2024 as a firm, as we toe the line for 2024, those major transitions, the team that we have currently, the focus this year on vertical growth. So really just growing the offices that we are currently located in. Instead of looking to horizontally grow into new territories, really focusing on that vertical growth of each office, we are set up for major success in 2024. All of the training ground of 2023 in terms of these transitions that we had to go through as a team, all of the past years that we have been uh, building into new markets has set us up for incredible success as we dial it in on each office in 2024. And it doesn't mean that there aren't times for horizontal growth. That's where we've been now for the past half decade, really, is horizontal growth. But the reason that we are set up particularly well for success in each of the offices that we are currently located in this year is because of the legwork that we have put in over the past year, 2 years, 5 years. So instead of always looking to move into some shiny new market, into some new location, some new practice area, some new hobby, what are the places that you can have incredible Everest-sized achievements based on your past wins? How can you build on your past wins? Right? Maybe you've had a bunch of years that you didn't make the playoffs as an NFL team. And now you got into the wild card, right? And so, maybe the incentive is, oh, hey, but what if we shifted a bunch of things around? Maybe we changed our offensive style, and we kind of went for it more on fourth down. We kind of took a riskier approach. No, maybe the best thing to do is just to build on what you're doing currently, so that you can make it into the second round, into the championship game, into the Super Bowl. Build off your past successes as opposed to always trying something new. New isn't always better. Consistency is king. Consistency over time is king because it creates a compounding effect. Habits compound. If we can get that 10 minutes a day of exercise in quarter number one, maybe we up that to 15 minutes in Q2, and then to 20 minutes in Q3. And by the end of the year, we're working out for a half hour a day, as opposed to going in 90 minutes January 1st, feeling sick after a week, getting frustrated, being sore, body wants to quit on us, and hanging up the running shoes come January 19th. Consistency is king. The compounding effect works. The sign behind me says discipline equals freedom. And if we want to have Everest-sized goals, if we want to have big, big goals, it's not about achieving that goal in 3 days. If you can achieve the goal that you set in 3 days, to me, it's not an Everest-sized goal. That just means that you've basically were bored and had a fun weekend. Everest-sized goals should take a long time to achieve, should take a lot of work to achieve. And if we want to have something that is Everest-sized, it's about taking those daily bite-sized chunks towards that goal. So lesson number 3, idea number 3 for towing the line correctly in 2024, and I think this is the most important one, is look to past successes for your 2024 Everest-sized goals, for setting your 2024 Everest-sized goals. Build on your past wins. Don't always jump in to some new and exciting and shiny space, hobby, vision, whatever it might be. Build on your past successes. So, hope the reflection today sends you into 2024 the right way. I am so excited about 2024. It's going to be an amazing, amazing year. I look forward to sharing more great conversations with other lawyers and non-lawyers on the podcast in 2024. I'm looking forward to what we have planned as a firm. Looking forward to some of the personal and family goals that I've got in the framework for this coming year. And I wish you a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and look forward to speaking with you next year. If you found the information in this podcast to be valuable, I simply ask that you pay it forward and share this podcast with another member of the legal community. Also, if you would leave us a rating or a review on whatever platform you are listening on, I would greatly appreciate it.